my experience as a foreigner during Koreans' biggest holiday. Life in Korea takes a little bit getting used to. There are so many things a foreigner needs to adjust to, especially when it comes to family. If you haven't seen our video about Korea's biggest holiday, please click on the link above and I'll leave a link down in the description below for your convenience. Let's just say that Korea's biggest holiday season, Chuseok, is all about family. Being married to a Korean definitely has its perks. For example, I'm able to start this company. Being in a Korean family, like all families, has its challenges. Let me preface this video by saying that my Korean in-laws are amazing. They're the most open-minded Korean people that I have ever met. The first time that I met them was on our road trip to Niagara Falls from Washington, D.C. I was so nervous meeting my girlfriend's parents at the time, since I assumed that all Korean parents were extremely strict and didn't want their daughters dating a foreigner. Her father was pretty good at speaking English, and I was able to communicate via simple Korean with her mother. After meeting with them, I definitely felt more comfortable and free to be myself. For the past 5 years that I have known them, they have gotten better at speaking English from studying Duolingo, and I have been more comfortable being myself around them. If you don't know about Chuseok, it's one of the biggest holidays of the year and usually spans from 3 days to a week. If you think there's a lot of free time, think again. The 3 days that I was on vacation, it was a vicious cycle of preparation, meeting family members, and eating. Most of my in-laws' relatives lived in the countryside. Therefore, we had to sit in the car from their house, which was near Daegu, to the middle of nowhere. This usually took about a 2-hour drive. And a 2-hour car ride in South Korea is an eternity. My in-laws prepared many gifts for their relatives, and the car was packed tightly with boxes and presents. The first day of Chuseok consisted of me helping my in-laws packing up the presents and my mother-in-law making some traditional Korean foods. Like kimchi. On the second day, the main Chuseok day, it was the same thing, but driving 2 hours to my father-in-law's relative's village. At this village, there were so many rice fields, and I found out that the whole village relies on the rice farm to make money for their whole community. It was so cool to see this in person. We went to each home, a total of about 3 homes, to talk and to give food and presents. It was kind of like remembering a script, as we had to say the same things to each family. The third and final day, we spent driving to my mother-in-law's relatives in Daegu, and outlying area with the same intention. The biggest challenge as a foreigner when going to another Korean's home is, of course, the language barrier. Her relatives were so interested in me and my wife's life and how we met. Of course, my wife did most of the explaining while I listened, but I was able to speak a little bit as well. Explaining what I did as a living was really nerve-wracking. I heard from my Korean friends that the older Koreans usually judge you by what you do and how much money you make. I was a little bit nervous about explaining to them that I started a business in Korea, which is looked at as an unstable career. Koreans prefer to work in larger companies, which can be considered a little bit more stable. Of course, nowadays it's changed a little bit. But being a foreigner gives you a little bit of slack. Koreans don't hold their standards to foreigners as much, so thankfully there wasn't too much pressure from them. Another challenge, and this one's physical, is sitting at traditional Korean tables. And I'm serious. Growing up in the United States, we've always sat at tables with chairs, right? But in Korea, sitting on the ground is more common at home, so it was really a challenge for me to cross my legs for long periods of time, especially when I had 2 knee surgeries. Overall, my experiences in Korea have taught me to be open-minded and appreciate other cultures. I've had an amazing experience getting to know my wife's relatives. Koreans are wonderful, welcoming people if you're willing to also be open-minded and try new foods and culture. For more information on Korean culture and business etiquette, please don't hesitate to contact us for your consultation. We would love to hear from you. I'll see you in the next video.